Have you ever just looked at some everyday object and thought to yourself, hey, could this be smarter? Well, today we're kicking off a journey to answer that exact question. We're going to explore how a simple little idea can turn a totally normal object into a smart device. So let's just dive right in. It always starts with a simple question. Something you've probably thought of yourself, right? What if your lamp just knew when the sun went down? Now, that's not magic. That's actually the first step into a much bigger and, honestly, a way more interesting world. It's that little spark of an idea that really gets the ball rolling. And the answer to that question? Well, it has a name. The Internet of Things, or IoT for short. Now, don't let the technical name throw you off. At its heart, IoT is really just about giving physical objects three amazing new abilities: the power to sense the world around them, to kind of think about what to do with that information, and finally, to communicate. It's the bridge that connects our physical world to the digital one. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, think of it like a simple four-step dance. First, the device senses something, like how bright it is in a room. Second, it decides what that means. Okay, it's getting dark in here. Third, it acts on that decision, maybe by turning on a light. And fourth, it communicates what it did, maybe by shooting a quick notification to your phone. Sense, decide, act, communicate. That's the secret sauce for pretty much every smart device out there. But for that whole four-step dance to happen, something's gotta be in charge, right? There needs to be a central controller, a manager. Let's be honest, it needs a brain. And this brain is what runs the whole show, making sure every single step happens exactly when it's supposed to. And that brain has a name. It's called a microcontroller. The best way to think of it is as a tiny, super specialized computer. It's not built to browse the internet or play video games. No, it's designed from the ground up to do one specific job, like managing .SmartLight, and to do it incredibly well and super efficiently. And here's where it gets really interesting. Your laptop or your desktop computer, that's a powerful brain that can juggle dozens of different jobs all at once. A microcontroller, on the other hand, is a total specialist. It's small, it sips power, and it is laser-focused on its one single mission. That's exactly why we use it in a smart device instead of some big power-hungry PC. So if we're going to go on this journey, we need the right tool for the job. And I'd like to introduce you to the ESP32. This little powerhouse is one of the most popular and most beginner-friendly microcontrollers you can get. Seriously, think of it as the perfect first set of wheels for your road trip into the world of IoT. So why the ESP32? What makes it so great? Well, because it comes with superpowers right out of the box. It's got Wi-Fi built right in, so connecting to the internet is no problem. It also has Bluetooth, so it can chat with your phone or other devices nearby. It is the whole package, perfect for learning the ropes and actually building real projects that connect to the world. Okay, so we've got our brain, the ESP32. Now it is time for the training montage. Because before we can build anything cool, we first need to learn the core skills. We need to understand the fundamental ways the ESP32 can actually talk to and interact with the world around it. The most basic skill of all is called GPIO, and honestly, you can just think of these as the ESP32's fingers. They can do two very simple things: turn something on or turn something off. That's it. It's how we control simple things like an LED light, and it's also how we read simple things like whether or not a button is being pressed. Okay, so GPIO gives us simple on and off control. But a smart device also needs a sense of rhythm, a sense of timing. And that's where timers come in. They are the ESP32's internal clock, and they let it do things at really precise intervals. So if you want an LED to blink exactly once every second, that's a job for a timer. But then you hit a wall. The real world isn't always just on or off, is it? What if you don't want the light to be at full blast? What if you want to dim it? Or what if you want to control the speed of a motor, not just slam it on or off? Well, the answer is a really clever technique called PWM, or pulse width modulation. Instead of the power being just on or off, PWM switches it on and off incredibly fast. We're talking hundreds or thousands of times a second. And by changing how long it's on versus how long it's off in each little pulse, we create the illusion of a variable output. More on time, it looks brighter. Less on time, it looks dimmer. It's the secret trick that lets us go from a simple light switch to a sophisticated dimmer knob. All right, so PWM gives us a way to have nuanced output, a way to control things smoothly. But what about nuanced input? How does our device understand the world when the world isn't just on or off? Things like temperature or light levels, they exist on a smooth spectrum. For this, the ESP32 needs a translator. And that is exactly what the ADC, or analog to digital converter, is. It takes that real-world, messy analog signal and translates it into a number that our digital brain can actually understand. So we've got control and we've got sensing. But there is one more absolutely crucial piece to this puzzle: reliability. I mean, what happens if the software on our device just freezes up? You can't have your smart lock just stop working. That's where the watchdog timer comes in. Think of it like a safety guard that is always watching. If the main program gets stuck and stops checking in, the watchdog jumps in and reboots the whole system, making sure it always gets back on track. All right, we have just covered a lot of ground. On-off signals, timing, dimming, sensing, even making sure things don't crash. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how all of these skills come together to build our very first simple IoT project. This is where the magic happens. So check out this flow. Step 1, a sensor, using that ADC we talked about, reads the analog light level in the room. Step 2, our ESP32 brain takes that number and decides, yep, it's dark. Step 3, using its built-in Wi-Fi, the ESP32 shoots a message out over the internet. And finally, step 4, you get a notification right on your phone. See? Every single skill we just learned has a part to play.
And this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Watching this, learning the theory, it's a fantastic start. But to truly learn IoT, you have got to get your hands dirty. The real learning, the deep understanding, it happens when you start building things, experimenting. And yeah, even when you make mistakes and things don't work the first time. That's where it all clicks.
And that's what is so exciting. Mastering these basics isn't the end of the road. Oh no, it's the beginning. This is the gateway. This is the foundation that lets you build more complex, more powerful, and way more amazing smart systems. Your adventure is really just getting started. So, what are the big takeaways from our little journey today? Well, first, that IoT doesn't start with complicated code. It starts with simple curiosity. Second, the microcontroller, like our friend the ESP32, is the absolute heart of any smart device. And maybe most important of all, real understanding only comes from doing, from building something yourself. We started all this with a simple question, so it's only right that we end with one. You've now got the map, you understand the tools, you know the basic principles. So the only real question left is, what object in your world are you going to make smart first?